guys, I've always thought in my teaching it's always important for you out there to learn something that you can recognize and think of, well, this is music. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you something that I've taught my students for years, and this is something that I call Spanish-ish, because it sounds Spanish-ish. Okay. This will become apparent. Now, there are a couple of benefits from doing this. One, it's going to get your E chord really good and strong. So you're going to really get to grips with the E chord. But what we're also going to do is we're going to do some sliding of the chord, which means that the fingertips get some abrasive action, which means they will toughen up. But we're also going to take this idea, add some open strings and add some notes, and we're going to say the notes as we play them, because if you say it as you play it, then there's more chance you'll remember what those notes are, and that's great for just learning where the notes are on your fretboard in this lower position here near the head note. So here is how we put on an E major chord. What we're going to do is we're going to put this first finger on here on the first fret of the G string, and then what we do is we put these two fingers on together. This is what I call a two-finger group. Because of the way the tendons work, they want to go down at the same time. You can put them down one at a time like that, but over time, you'll find that you'll just put those fingers on together anyhow. So let's just shortcut that and just go there straight away. No point mucking around. Let's get into it. But we want to use this first finger here to scout. And you'll notice that first finger is right up next to the fret wire there. Not on the fret wire, next to it, because I want good tone. And then what you'll see is I'll put those two fingers on. Now, look at how those two fingers are on that fretboard there. You can see they're not in the same part of the fret there. They're staggered in a sort of little diagonal pattern there. And that's what we want actually. So you can see the shape and the angle of my hand. Look at the angle of my hand as it goes across there. It's not straight up like this. If you try and play a chord like this, you will suffer. You won't get a good sound and you'll mute strings out. If you go too far around, you'll struggle as well. So what we want is this diagonal, just go in there. You should be able to look down the guitar, look at the chord and see your fingernails nice and clear. So we've got this chord here. Now I've got a pick here. You can use your fingers equally. And what we're going to do is we're just going to strum this E chord here, and I'm going to strum all 6 strings. So strum and squeeze the chord. So a strum. And I can see how long I can hold that chord on for. And the longer you hold that chord on, the more it's going to hurt your fingertips if you're a beginner. So what we do is we just release it a little bit. Give yourself a little break from that. And you keep your fingers in the grooves that you've created in your fingertips there. If you just take your fingers off and look at them, you can see there's grooves in there like the grooves in a record. So if we put that back on again there, we'll just do that a few times. Just get used to it. Ring that E chord and then just relax that, because those fingertips can hurt a bit. That's okay. It's all part of the journey. You've got to go through this, guys. It's part of paying your dues. Just do it again. Okay. So we're not going to play any other chord shapes than this. I'm going to show you, like you saw at the beginning of this video, I'm going to take this same chord here. And then as I release my grip, I'm going to keep the strings in the grooves of those fingers. I'm going to shift that chord up 1 fret. So instead of my first finger being in the 1st fret, it's now in the 2nd fret. And instead of my 2nd and 3rd fingers being in the 2nd fret, they're now in the 3rd fret. And you can see that this is still the same shape. It's just moved up the guitar. And you'll find, guys, that a lot of chords do this. A lot of chords move up the guitar, these shapes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly the same thing, and I'm going to strum all 6 strings. Now it's going to sound a bit odd because you'll go, oh, that might not be the right sound I'm trying to make here. But listen, it is. This is the sound that you're going to get. Now that's a very mysterious sort of sound there. Now I call this F-ish, not fish. This is F-ish, okay? Because it's kind of like an F. It belongs to this F here, which is a bar chord which you can't even play yet. So let's stick with F-ish. Let's do F-ish like this. Okay, so we've got F-ish here. And the thing about this exercise is that it tells you all about something that's really important in music, and that is tension and release. When we play this chord here, it feels very much at home and very stable, but when we move it up here, what happens is we get tension. So that tension there, that creates some drama, and that's what you need to tell a good story. I do get into a story with this because everybody likes a story. I'm going to just slide between those two shapes now. So here's the tension sound. And then what we do is we move down to that E again, where it resolves nicely. You might get this little squeak as you move through those. Listen. You might get that. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay? It will go. The better you get at the changes, the silkier and smoother you will get. So if we take this here, there's the F-ish going to the E. Okay? Back to the F-ish. And obviously you can hear now why I call this Spanish-ish, because it sounds kind of Spanish-ish. So we've got this here. There's the E, there's the F-ish, not fish. Here's what's interesting, I think, to get some control over your pick here. What I want you to do is imagine that this is a butter knife and you've got butter on it. You're just going to butter the strings. Pretend this is a slice of bread here. You just butter down the strings like that. Spreading soft butter, not hard butter, down there. And then you do it with the other side of the pick as well, because you've got butter on both sides of the knife somehow. So you've got to wipe it off on the other side as well. So, okay, so just do that like this. Now, if you want to really get extravagant, if you've got an acoustic guitar, you can just follow the sound holes. So if you go like this, I'm just drawing a circle. So I've got that circle there, and I could even do it backwards. Really listen to that tension and that release between these guys. You can experiment where you use the pick and see what sort of sounds you can get. If I move this pick down here, you can hear that this sounds very brittle and bright. And it's actually harder to push the pick through those strings. And you'll do it here and you'll feel that it's easier, because this is the area you want to be getting used to using your pick. And I could also use it over the fretboard, and that sounds a little bit more harp-like, I think. So we just move that over there. Just experiment with the sounds that you can get. And so you're going down and you're going up. And you can hear, like I say, that sounds Spanish. Because really, as well as it being a chord exercise and something to toughen up your fingers, it's a listening exercise as well, guys. Because you really need to start working on your ear if you're a beginner. Because how do you know when you are playing something that's wrong? You've got to start training your ear. There's the E. We'll move up to F-ish. Now, that on its own sounds great, but it doesn't sound great for long. So what we want to do is we want to look at the first three notes in the first three frets, including this open string here. Now, if you know the way your guitar is tuned, E, A, D, G, B, E, Eddie, Dynamite, Goodbye, Eddie, whatever mnemonic you use, what we're going to do is we're going to start on this E string, because this makes sense, because we're playing this E chord. So let's bring this E string in here because it's going to sound good with the chords that we're playing. So we're going to play open E string here. And then what's going to happen is we're going to play the F here. Yeah, that's the first fret. And if you've seen my video on knowing these little shortcuts on guitar for remembering your notes, then you'll know that I use the thing eggs fried. So we've got eggs fried there. So we use a little mnemonic just to help you there. Eggs fried, so that you know where E and F are. And then we're going to skip a fret there and we're going to go to the third fret. Now, as you can see, there is no dot on the front of my guitar, but there is on the top here. I have a dot here, dot, dot, dot. That's what those dots are there for, guys, to help you to know where you are. So I'm going to use this one here. So this is G, and this is F, and this is E. Now this is the important bit. This is where you say it as you play it. We're going to go E, F, G. So I'm just going to use my first finger to get this. I'm going to go E, F, G. Cool. Now I've gone up those notes, because you could hear that the pitch was rising, and the fret number was rising as well. So now we're going to go down it. So we're going to go G, F, E. So we've got it going up and we've got it going down. If I want to be economical, I can use different fingers to play those. And if I do it like this, I go E, use my first finger to hold the F, use my third finger to hold that G. That's a little bit more economical. If you can use your first finger to get it, it's fine. But if you can use two fingers here, it's a little bit easier in the long run. And it's getting you started with learning how to play scales as well. And remember, guys, scales lead to licks and they lead to riffs and all that good stuff. So E, F, G. Now what I'm going to do is a little sequence of notes. So it goes E, F, G, F, E. Yes, so it goes like this. Now you can hear it already starts to sound a little bit more Spanish, and we can add that to the E and the F-ish chord that we did before. So go E, F, G, F, E. I could put some drama into this. When I'm playing this, I'm really going to the place where the music comes from. So I'm imagining a matador riding into town because he's got a big bullfight the next day. Put that little idea in there. It helps us to know the notes. So we go E, 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 F-ish, E, E, F, G, F, E. Say it as you play it, and then you'll stand more of a chance of remembering it. So we can do that for a little bit of drama. So he's pulled up on his donkey, because I just always imagined that this matador is a big guy and he's on a little donkey. And you can picture it's a dusty street with like white houses that are all whitewashed and painted. Okay, so he is there. He's rode his donkey into town, and that's his theme. We're going to think that's the matador's theme. He looks up at one of the houses and there's a balcony and he can see a pretty senorita looking down at him because she knows he's coming into town to do some bullfighting because he's famous. So we've got this famous matador who's coming to town and she can see him as well. They're both on the same page here. And I know this is a crazy lesson, guys, but here's the thing that I want you to take away from this. This is the matador. That's his motif. That's his idea. That's the thing that identifies him. Now, what we can do is we can repeat it, because if we know the way the guitar is tuned, it goes Eddie, 8, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. We've got an Eddie here and we've got an Eddie here. So this is an E string as well. So really, this is E, F, G, F, E. Okay, does this make sense? We've got the same motif, we've got the same thing going on as this. E, F, G, F, E. But we're playing it on 2 strings, so we're learning where the notes are on 2 strings here. So this is really good for your development as a guitar player. Let's go back to the town where the matadors landed. And this is the senorita. She looks at him, she goes. She's fluttering her eyelashes at him. And he goes... in answer. He's there puffing his chest out. And he just rides on. And she shouts after him. And he's still riding. He looks over his shoulder and he winks. Now, the thing is, guys, I've used this idea of telling you a story, a little scale fragment and a couple of chords, really. But this is what you can do with the guitar. It's all about making music and making stories. Now, if you really want to get into this idea of knowing your note names, like I was showing you here with E and F and G, then you might want to watch this video that's coming up here now.